Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Game of Thrones, Season 4, Episode 5, First of His Name, and this was just, holy shit, this was another great episode, because, in my opinion, this episode should have been called Red Wedding, but basically the Starks get their revenge, because the ending of this episode, that's basically what happens, is that the Starks get their revenge at the end, by the end of this episode, and we will get to that, but the episode as a whole, I thought, was really good. It was not as good as last week's episode, in my opinion. I thought last week's episode was a little bit stronger, because it had primarily this episode, my only issue was that there was no Jaime in this episode, there was no Tyrion, and Jaime and Tyrion are probably my two favorite characters on the show. I mean, I love Sansa, but the main reason I love Sansa is because she is extremely attractive, and I think she's probably the hottest on the show. But I did like where they're going with the show. I like where they're going with some of the plots, and we're really setting up the Stark reunion. So, let's just get to the episode, because I really enjoyed it. We opened up with Tommen's coronation ceremony, and basically, the house, he's being crowned king, and Jaime, Cersei, and Lord Tywin all look on with joy. Jaime's only in one scene, he doesn't have any dialogue in this episode. Cersei then sees Margaery, and she decides to go talk to Margaery, and she sees Margaery eyeing Tommen on the throne, and she basically immediately goes over to chat with her, and Cersei asks her if she's still mourning Joffrey's death, and Margaery says that, of course, she is. Cersei doesn't believe her, and Cersei says you knew exactly what he was and what he was capable of, and I think Cersei was just trying to tell her that, basically, she finally admits that her son was a monster, and that she even despised him, which I like Cersei in this episode. You know, sometimes I hate Cersei. Most times I hate Cersei. This episode, though, I liked her because she finally admit my son was a dangerous monster, and I was just really proud of her that she finally admitted that, because it took you 4 seasons to finally admit that. I find that really stupid that it took her 4 seasons to admit that, but still, I was very happy that she did admit, that her son was a monster, because he really was a monster, if you think about it. So yeah, I was happy about that. Then what happens is that, basically, Cersei, in this moment, but that she did say that she loved him like a mother loves all her children, no matter what. And they start talking about, Cersei starts to say how Tommen could be the first king, actually, in over 50 years, to deserve the throne, and that he will ultimately need someone to help him on his journey. And I think Margaery, I will tell you this right now, I ship, I said this on Twitter, I made this up, I ship Margaery, I ship them, because I want Tommen and Margaery together. You know, Tommen just seems like a really nice guy. He's really, him and Margaery have a lot of chemistry. I saw that in the last episode, and I'm rooting for him and Margaery, I really am. And Cersei asks Margaery if she's willing and eager to be queen, and Margaery basically says, I don't know, but she says she'll have to think about it and talk with her father. Really, we can tell she doesn't want to be queen, though, so I'm glad things are starting to go well for Margaery, because I actually do like Margaery. Margaery is one of the few characters on this show who really hasn't done anything bad, really just doing things for the good of it, and, she's not, like, bad or anything, so I'm fine with Margaery wanting to be queen. I think that'd be fine. Now we get to Daenerys. Now, Daenerys finally learned after 2 episodes, it's been 2 episodes, she was the last person to learn that, Joffrey has died. And she's also come into a rather large amount of ships and wonders if she now has the power to take over King's Landing. And Jorah counsels her in a moment of uncertainty after she learns that all the slaves she freed in the cities she passed through now have been overthrown. So, clearly the whole thing with the slaves last week, it did not work for her. She chooses to postpone her journey towards Westeros. Instead, she will return and make sure those freed do not slip back into chains, because she wants the slaves to be free. She doesn't want them to be in chains. So, that was definitely really interesting. So, the other thing that I will say about Daenerys, though, is that she did not seem like she cared that Joffrey was dead, which it was interesting to see someone's reaction to her just be like, okay, whatever. Because Daenerys was not close to Joffrey in any way. She really didn't. I don't think Daenerys personally gave a shit that Joffrey was dead. I really don't think she did, because she did not react she didn't have any emotion whatsoever. So I really don't think that Daenerys gave a single shit that Joffrey died. She did not react in any way that makes me think that she cares. So, personally, I don't think she gives a single shit that he is alive. But I don't care, because I don't give a shit that Joffrey's dead. I hated Joffrey, so I definitely agree with Daenerys there. So then what happens is, we see Lord Baelish and Sansa, who I like that we got a little bit more with Sansa in this episode. But, you know, we've only gotten primarily one scene with Sansa in episode, and we got a lot more with Sansa in this episode, which I was happy about. But Lord Baelish and Sansa, they, you know, we were all trying to figure out what's going to happen with them. Is he going to kill her? What's going to happen there? And, you know, he attempts to pass through the Bloody Gate. They gain entrance, proceed through. Sansa meets with her aunt, Lady Lisa Arryn, to whom Peter is set to marry. And, so yeah, that was something really interesting. And that's who she goes with. And Cersei and Tywin are talking about the future weddings to the Tyrells. Cersei is planning on marrying Loras, and Tommen is going to marry Margaery. So those are going to be two major weddings that are going to come up. I really hope that it works for Tommen and Margaery, because I'm really rooting for them. As I said, I do like them. I think they're both good characters, and I'm rooting for them. As far as Cersei and Loras, I don't think that's going to work, personally. I think Cersei, honestly, I think she's going to get, you know, they're going to end up turning on her. And I think it's going to be, you know, really interesting to see, you know, what happens there. So yeah, I don't really think it's going to work for Cersei, but we'll have to see. But Tywin says that they must solidify their alliance with the Tyrells because the Tyrells are their only true rivals in terms of resources. So then we see, this was a very interesting scene with Arya. I thought this was actually really well done, and I really appreciate the scene. Arya and the Hound are trying to get sleep beside a fire, and Arya's muttering off names, just randomly naming names, and basically these are the names of people whom she's eager to kill. She wants to kill these people, and she wants them dead. So, yeah, that was definitely really interesting. So then, finally, we see that Lady Lisa does meet up with Sansa, who goes on the weird jealous raid, because she thinks Peter's in love with Sansa, basically. Or rather, that she thinks he has an attachment to her because he was in love with Caitlyn. So she starts to get all upset about everything. I mean, she starts to go, like, on this whole, rant and everything, like, oh, I know what sexual things you're doing with Peter, and Sansa's like, no, I'm a virgin, you gotta believe me, I haven't done anything. And I thought that scene was that was really intense for some reason. I just thought that was really interesting. And probably, here comes the funniest part of the episode. Pod and Brienne, oh my god, I was cracking up at their scenes, I gotta say. All of Pod and Brienne's scenes, I found it absolutely hysterical. They're riding onward to look for Sansa, but they're constantly just bickering because Pod has no idea what he's doing, basically. And finally, Pod gets to actually speak in this episode. He actually has a lot of dialogue. But Brienne wants Pod. Basically, Brienne's just like, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. And Pod is admitting that he was ordered to stay by her side, and he'll continue to do so. And, so yeah, that was definitely really funny. And the scene after that's really funny, but first we have to talk about, this next scene with, Prince Oberyn and Cersei. They take a walk through the gardens. Cersei, is basically talking about power. And, the thing that she's asking is, what good is having power when you can't protect the ones you love? And she asked Prince Oberyn if her daughter, who is now living in his land, is alright, and he informs her, he says, we never try to hurt your daughter intentionally, we really do care for your daughter, we're going to protect her as much as we can, we're going to do everything we can to help her, and I thought that was a nice scene. I like that we're getting, some nice scenes in this episode, I like that scene, definitely. But who is Cersei's daughter? I haven't heard anything about her daughter. I don't remember what the name of her daughter is, so someone tell me, who the hell's her daughter? Because I don't know who her daughter is, so if someone could tell me who her daughter is, that'd be very much appreciated, because I have no idea what the hell she's talking about. So then we get, this was definitely the funniest scene. It's another scene of Brienne and Pod. This time, they're resting beside a campfire, and Brienne is very apprehensive to let Pod help her remove her armor, because again, he has no idea what he's doing. He literally tries to set a fire to the campfire, and he almost, like, sets the whole thing on fire. It was hilarious to watch, and she basically is asking him, have you ever had experience with wilderness? He's like, no. Have you ever had experience with hunting? No. Have you ever had experience with armor? No. Then why are you here? He's like, because I was here because I wanted to be by your side. And it was just hilarious to watch because, again, Pod has no idea what he's doing. And literally, if I was Brienne in that situation, I'd leave. I was like telling Brienne, I'm like, Brienne, just leave. Seriously, this guy has no idea what he's doing. He's not going to help you in any way. I found that whole thing hilarious. I really did. I like when Game of Thrones can have some great comic relief. And definitely they had some great comic relief with Brienne and Pod. I thought it was absolutely hysterical. He also does reveal, though, that he did kill a man during the battle at Blackwater. And Brienne begins to see not only his worth, but also his eagerness to serve her. So she does give in and allow him to assist her, which I was happy about, you know. Finally, he tells her, you know, I do have some experience with killing people, so yes, I can help you. I will be a useful adversary to you. I'm not just someone who has no idea what the fuck they're doing. I do kind of know what I'm doing. So I thought that was definitely really good, that he finally told her, you know, I know what I'm doing. And then the final scene, and this was awesome. I love the final scene of this episode, because as I said, the Starks got their revenge. Not on the Lannisters, but on the people that Bran were trapped with. Because Bran and all of his buddies, they're all still trapped. The Night's Watch eventually descends on the camp, overthrows the captors. You know, Jon Snow does that. But Jon Snow takes him. But the Night's Watch take him. Bran is taken away. Luckily, Bran manages to overtake Hodor's body. And then Hodor and Bran kill the man who's taking them away. And, basically, it's a crazy thing here. Craster's there, too. Craster just starts to go insane. And, you know, it's pretty, just shit's going down here. And luckily, you know, Bran wants to see his brother, Jon Snow, but Jojen says they can't see him because he will say that he can't continue on his travels because he'll want to protect him. And, luckily, they killed Craster. I thought that was good that they finally killed Craster. Jon Snow killed Craster, so yay for the Starks. Starks forever, as my friend Caitlin LaPlante, a.k.a. the Kid of Awesome, says. But Jon Snow was reunited with his wolf, which I thought was adorable. I was very happy they were reunited. Even though it's a wolf, that wolf meant a lot to him, so definitely, I thought that was really well done. But the Night's Watch, they successfully overtake Craster's Keep, and then at the end of the episode, they end up burning it to the ground, and the episode ends. And I was just like, yes, finally, because Starks finally accomplished something. And really, I say the Starks got their revenge, because that was them sort of like, okay, this is going to be our Red Wedding. You know, I kind of thought of that as the Starks Red Wedding. And I think that's kind of what we can remember this episode as, that it was kind of the Starks Red Wedding because of them just, you know, killing all those people who were holding Bran captive. And I just thought that was definitely really well done. I do feel like we're setting up to the Stark family reunion, because Jon Snow is with Bran. Bran knows he's alive now. Sansa is starting to figure out some more information. Arya is getting closer and closer to King's Landing. You know, that's happening. So, I think they're all going to end up meeting back at King's Landing. And what's going to happen is they're all going to reunite. I have a feeling it's going to be the season finale. They're all going to reunite, and then it's going to be back to Starks versus Lannisters. However, this time the Starks are going to be the stronger adversary. I think that's how the season is going to end, because we've now reached the pivotal 5th episode, which is the half point of the season, which means that the next 5 episodes are going to be amazing. I cannot wait for the next 5 episodes. I think the next 5 episodes are just, a lot of shit's going to go down. The next 5 episodes, definitely. It's going to be really intense. Shit's going to hit the fan, and I can't wait to see what happens next. My only complaint about this episode was that there was no Tyrion, and there was barely any Jaime, because I really liked Jaime and Tyrion's storyline last week. I enjoyed it a lot. But there was a lot to like about this episode, definitely a lot to like. Not just the Starks, you know, killing all those people. That was definitely one of the highlights of the episode. Another highlight was the debates between Pod, the sort of like conflict between Pod and Brienne. I'm glad that Brienne did finally say, alright, I trust you. But my question is Pod going to be a good adversary to Brienne? I think he will be. We'll have to see what happens there. Cersei, do you think these weddings are going to work? Do you think Tommen and Margaery, do you think it's going to work for them? And also Cersei and Loras. I have a feeling Cersei's going to die by the end of the season, because Cersei literally said in this episode, anyone who's not a Lannister, I want them dead. She literally said that. So I'm thinking because of that happening, because of Jon Snow just killing those people, Cersei's going to die. Definitely, because Jon Snow, badass in this episode, definitely. Arya, I think, is also going to do some damage control with the Lannisters because, you know, she was naming all those people. She wants them dead. You know, I think that's going to happen. That's going to be interesting to see. What else there to ask? We did get a little thing with Littlefinger and one other character who I don't really remember, but, I mean, that was interesting, but there wasn't too much going on there. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I can't think of it, though. Am I forgetting something? Oh, also, who is Cersei's daughter? Someone tell me. I need to know who Cersei's daughter is. And also, how is this going to work between Sansa and Lady Lysa? I don't really know. That's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Turn and Mad Men. So I will see you guys for that. Bye.